Hello and thank you for coming to the McWaters Effect. I'm your host, Matt, and today we're going to be talking about the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force. Now, first thing I need you to do is hit like and subscribe. Helps the channel grow. Let's get on with the show. Now, first thing I want to get out is, do I believe in UFOs? The clearest, simple matter I could say is yes. And the reason I do is because someone in my family had an encounter with a UFO years ago, and he told me a story, and he believes it's real. And the man has never lied to me. I have to go with by his word. And this is something that I don't see why someone would lie about. Because the fact is, most people that talk about this kind of things, they're shunned in society. Like you're a freak or something. Because you've seen something you cannot identify or explain. Now, first thing I want to talk about is, thanks to Trump-era COVID relief bill, a UFO report may soon be public, ex-official says. Now, the ex-official is Luis Elizondo. Just in case you don't know who he is, he'll be mentioned later on in this as well, is he's the former director of Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. See, for the longest time, the government tried to say they didn't have programs like that to look into UFOs or aerospace phenomenon, whatever they want to call it, because supposedly no one believe it. But they've had these programs since the late 60s. First one I can think of is Project Blue Book. But these programs have been around for a long time, and this program was actually created. Now, it's underneath another program called Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force. This program's been around since the early 2000s, and it was started and suggested that it should be started by Harry Reid, who was a former Nevada senator, as well as head of the Senate for the Democrats in the early 2000s. Now, Harry Reid is actually a big proponent of investigating these phenomena because he actually believes in UFOs and the idea that they might be extraterrestrials. Now, here's another part of this story. Ex-UFO Pentagon program chief outlines compelling UFO theories and unique vehicle characteristics. I actually have a video with him on it. It is his name is Luis Elizondo, and I already gave you what he was a director of and everything. And he has some pretty interesting things to say in this video.
So, when people say, "Oh, you're in that business," how do you explain these UFOs?
Sure. Well, my business has always been that as an investigator. I was an intelligence officer for the U.S. government, so my business was just to find the truth, whatever the truth is, whether it's a terrorism investigation or counter-espionage. Yeah, we applied the same methodologies we did investigating terrorist, if you will, operations and operatives as we did with this. And the information is very compelling. It's real.
Yeah. Okay, it's real. Are they from another planet?
Well, I think it's too early to tell. The three options are that have been presented. That is our secret technology, but we've done a terrible job at coordinating the testing of this technology for decades with ourselves, which is highly unlikely. The second option is that it's foreign adversarial technology, which, if you were to ask me, would be a huge intelligence failure of this country because we've been technologically leapfrogged. Or the third option is that it's something completely different. If it's not ours and it's not theirs, well, then it's someone or something else.
I can't wait for this report to come out. Lou, thank you very much for joining us today.
Here's some more information about this guy. He's a former intelligence officer for the U.S. Army and Department of Defense. That means this guy's not really a kook. He's not a kook at all. Matter of fact, he's someone that is, this is what he does. He researches things. He investigates to make sure he finds the truth. Not only was he a part of this one government group, he actually joined another group with Chris Mellon and Steve Justice and a few others. Came from the ATTIP, and they started a group called To the Stars Academy. Now, this group was actually started by the guitarist from Blink 182. I know, it seems a little hokey. They're actually a group that was kind of like MUFON. MUFON is a group that searched for evidence of alien abductions, everything that has to do with aliens. They would look into it, research it, and categorize it. And they were independent from the U.S. government. Now, they have a lot of information about everything from UFO submersion crafts to UFOs sightings by the government as well as by militaries around the world. And this group was similar to that. They did the same thing. The thing is Lewis, Chris, and Steve are actually leaving that program because they want to try to help to disclose the information they know about UFOs. And the fact is that to the Stars Academy, they work with the government as well. They have government contracts and so on and so forth. And so for them to be able to do it, they would have to leave this program. Now here's another story here. The UFO report details difficult to explain sightings, says USA Intelligence Director. Now that Intelligence Director, his name is John Radcliffe. He's the former director of the DNI underneath Donald Trump. Now, before I give you more information about him, I have a video of him on Fox News, and he gave an interview, and it was quite interesting.
Actually, is a program that's been in place for a few years in terms of a task force that has been there under the National Defense Authorization Act. But as you correctly point out, Maria, there's now a report that will be issued by the Pentagon, by the Secretary of Defense and the Director of National Intelligence. I actually wanted to get this information out and declassified before I left office, but we weren't able to get it down into an unclassified format that we could talk about quickly enough. But frankly, there are a lot more sightings than have been made public. Some of those have been declassified. When we talk about sightings, we're talking about objects that have been seen by Navy or Air Force pilots or have been picked up by satellite imagery that frankly engage in actions that are difficult to explain, that movements that are hard to replicate, that we don't have the technology for, or traveling at speeds that exceed the sound barrier without a sonic boom. So in short, things that we are observing that are difficult to explain. And so, there's actually quite a few of those, and I think that information is being gathered and will be put out in a way that the American people can see. We always, when we see these things, Maria, we always look for a plausible explanation. Weather can cause disturbances, visual disturbances. Sometimes we wonder whether or not our adversaries have technologies that are a little bit further down the road than we thought or that we realized. But there are instances where we don't have good explanations for some of the things that we've seen. And, when that information becomes declassified, I'll be able to talk a little bit more about that.
Can you tell us where it was seen?
Actually, all over the world. There have been sightings all over the world. And when we talk about sightings, the other thing I will tell you is it's not just a pilot or just a satellite or some intelligence collection. Usually we have multiple sensors that are picking up these things. And so, again, some of this are just they're unexplained phenomenon. And there's actually quite a few more than have been made public. So I think it'll be healthy for as much of this information to get out there as possible so that the American people can see.
Now, as you can see by the interviewer, she is dumbfounded by the information this guy is telling her. She can't think he's a kook. I mean, he's a high-level government official at one time from the DNI. The DNI controls information from Office of Naval Intelligence, the FBI, CIA, including this agency, which is the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force. This guy's not a kook. Now, they actually declassified a video of a UFO breaking the sound barrier with no sonic boom. Not only that, two pilots are following it, and they can barely keep up. And not only can they pick it up by sight, they can pick it up by radar as well. So that tells you that thing is real. And I'm going to show you the video.
fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is an LNS, dude. Well, if there's another thing, it's rotating.
Now, one thing I want to say is that video is really grainy and you can't see a whole lot, but you can see enough and tell that these guys actually believe what they're seeing and they're seeing it on radar. And I could see why it's declassified, though. These debunkers out there are going to try to debunk this thing, and I don't think they're going to have a hard time debunking it. But obviously, these guys believe that this thing is pretty real. And not only that, pilots are some of the best eyewitnesses because they know what a plane or helicopter or anything in the air can do that humans make. What it's capable of doing, what it can do. And this thing was doing things that we can't do, that our aircrafts can't do. Now, you're probably asking, when is more information going to be released? More documents, more videos? And it's supposed to be released 180 days after that bill was passed, which was it was passed in December 27th. So we got a couple more months from now. And I can't wait to see what's in it. And I'm hoping they don't redact a lot of stuff, which that's what government's known for. And they might do that. They might try to keep people from finding out about stuff by redacting it. Maybe not, we got a different administration now, Joe Biden, so he might just shut it down completely. It's within his rights. He could say it's national security. We can't show it. Now, if we want to get more idea of what's in these documents and see these videos, we need to put pressure as a people, put pressure on the Senate. And, you need to call your congressman, your senator, whoever, and tell them you want to know what they know. And then get more pressure on the senator that's head of the intelligence committees, and that would be Mark Warner, the senator from Virginia. And more pressure we put on them, more likely they're going to actually come out and tell us the truth, and give us more information in these documents, not redact them, instead of just putting them in the back and keeping it secret for the good of humanity or something like that. Who knows what kind of excuses they'll keep people from actually knowing the truth. And let's say I'm wrong. These documents or these videos show that a foreign government has technology and has the ability to go into space and go supersonic speeds without causing a sonic boom, which I think is highly unlikely. But let's say that is the case. Shouldn't the American people know that? Who would have thought all this information and videos would actually be coming out in the open thanks to Donald Trump, who a lot of people on the left call him a fascist. Would a fascist give information to the masses? No, he wouldn't. He would hold it to himself, use it to stay in power. But he didn't do that. I think he should be commended for it. Or who knows? He might have did it just out of spite. Said, all right, you explain this shit. Peace. It's just an idea. Yeah, could be the case. Or who knows? He might be an actual believer himself, and he feels like the American public need to know. All right, I'd like to thank everybody for coming and listening to my rant. I hope you enjoyed. If you didn't, I don't know what to tell you. But please hit like and subscribe. Helps the channel grow. Peace.